Welcome to the D23 Expo 2013. For the probably most of you who don't know me, I'm Jeffrey Epstein from D23, the official Disney fan club. Do we have any members in the house? All right. Those of you who aren't members, go to d23.com right after this session and sign up. Okay. But hello, fellow Disney geeks. Hello, fellow oncers. It is great to have everyone here together. When we were first here 2 years ago, we were a little nervous. It was the first time ABC had really done something in a big space, and would they really buy into the Once Upon a Time fairy tale meets reality? I'm guessing you kind of did. So you can imagine how thrilled we are to have Once Upon a Time and Once Upon a Time in Wonderland with us here today at the D23 Expo. I want to make sure I'm not... First, I want to thank ABC for bringing Once Upon a Time back here, because I can't think of a show that I love more on ABC that perfectly blends the wonderful, historic, classic Disney tales that we all love and adds a whole contemporary side of them and expands on the characters that we've all know and love. So really excited to be here. And really excited to kick things off with something very special that very few people have seen. To get everyone excited at ABC about Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, Eddie and Adam, who will come out afterwards and we'll chat with them, created what we call a presentation pilot. Last time when we were here we saw the full pilot, which was 42 minutes long. Well, they created a 19-minute Once Upon a Time in Wonderland presentation pilot. And it's only been shown, I think, once publicly before. And you guys are going to get to see the entire thing right now. So, it is now my honor and privilege to introduce to you the creators of Once Upon a Time and Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz. So I got a few questions.
Sure.
All right. Now is Wonderland going to utilize the flashbacks like we're familiar with in Once Upon a Time?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
Absolutely. You will see that every week, much like Once Upon a Time, we will go back and see all the characters and their lives. So we're going to, as you know, we didn't meet all the characters that you saw in the presentation. So Naveen Andrews will be playing Jafar. So we'll find out about him, we'll find out about the Red Queen, we'll find out what makes the knave so knavish, and we'll find out all about Alice. And it isn't our intention to tell a complete story this year, so you don't have to wait 5 years to see if she'll find Silas.
Yeah, so, you know, the whole season will endeavor to tell a complete story, and in the process of doing that, we will be flashing back to their previous lives in other worlds and realms, much as we do in Once Upon a Time.
Exciting. Now, this story takes place after the classic Disney Alice in Wonderland happened. So, in those flashbacks, are we going to see some homages to that film?
I would say that we may see a little blue dress at some point in a smock.
We're definitely, you know, we saw a glimpse of the hookah-smoking caterpillar, but in the pilot we're going to meet the Cheshire Cat. So we are definitely going to hit a bunch of the icons from the movie.
You know, it's the icons from the movies and from Lewis Carroll, who, like, you know, we're really trying to honor what he's done and not redo it, but kind of go forward and spin off into a new direction. And at the same time look back and kind of find out where deep cuts in there, things that in his work and in the movie that you haven't seen as much lately.
Like the Boiling Sea. It's from one of the poems.
There you go. Now, you did just mention that we're looking at a complete arc of story in this one season. Does that mean we would go to other realms, or could we come back to Wonderland possibly?
This season would be a complete arc of story involving the characters you just saw in that presentation in Wonderland, maybe flashing back to other realms. You know, as we said, Jafar is in this, so it wouldn't be surprising to see some of Agrabah as we do this. But should this work, should you all watch it and like it and want more, we would be thrilled to come back for more stories with this cast. And
much
maybe,
like a movie. Yeah, much like a movie. You know, it's one mission is Star Trek is on another mission, and then the next year we'll come back for another mission with the same characters.
Now, you did this on Once with Emma, but what made you decide to create an entirely new character, Cyrus, for the show?
You know, for us, what we liked is, you know, for us, Alice was a character, and you'll see more about what makes her tick, but she's a character who was curious enough to follow a rabbit into a hole. So for us, we love the idea that she would naturally fall in love with a genie, because a genie is somebody who's seen many lives and many worlds and many places, but also a genie is somebody who has watched, you know, people ruin their lives from wishes and selfishness. And so what we'll see in the series is that they're kindred spirits.
Yeah, I mean, we had to ask ourselves the question of who would Alice fall in love with, and what would that match be? And to do that, we wanted to create a new character, and we wanted to create a character, though, that fit into some of these worlds that we all know and love.
Now, this was a question that I had when I saw the presentation, and I'm guessing some of the audience may be curious as well. Alice is dressed in period garb, but we know that the story takes place after Storybrooke has woken up, which is contemporary. So, can you explain that a little bit?
Indeed. The simplest way to think about it is this, which is there's our world where Storybrooke exists that, you know, has its own history and all that we all know. And then there are realms of story. The Enchanted Forest is one. This world where we see Alice is what we call fictional Victorian England.
So it's where you would see Oliver Twist. It was where you would see David Copperfield, and it's also where you'd find Alice.
And that world of story exists concurrently with our world. So what we're seeing in Storybrooke is happening essentially in the same time as that world.
But the good news is you don't need a flow chart to watch the show. You can just watch it, not worry about any of these things, sit back, and it won't render the way it is.
That's the fun of it for us. Is it's, you know, we try to set up these rules that make sense and that are consistent with each other, but do it in a way so that we can tell a story that you can just kind of run along with and just know, all right, we're seeing Alice, and then if we're flashing back to her time in what appears to be Victorian England, that's all you got to know is this is her past.
Now, a favorite character, I think, of probably a lot of us last season, even though she was incredibly evil, was Cora. And we learned...
Barbara Hershey!
And we learned that much like Rumpelstiltskin being the beast and the crocodile, that she was the Queen of Hearts.
Yes.
While she is sadly no longer with us in the present-day Storybrooke land, will she perhaps make some appearances in flashbacks?
I mean,
I would be disappointed if she did.
We really hope so. We love Barbara.
The Red Queen had to learn something from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you see the Red Queen in the presentation, you don't see the Queen of Hearts, and we know the Queen of Hearts was a huge part of Wonderland. So that's a story that we are very excited to tell on this show.
Great. Now we know Jafar is going to be in the show. Any other character mashups that we can maybe look forward to?
There are some you can look forward to and some we don't want to spoil just yet.
We can let you know, we can tease that Will, who's the Knave of Hearts, has a background that is surprising.
Okay then, that explains it all.
Would you like us to be vaguer?
No.
He's got good stuff coming, watch live.
Live or +7 is fine.
Yes, but live is better.
Okay. So, off to Neverland. I'm sorry, Disney Geeks, I had to say it. On to Once Upon a Time.
Sure.
If there was a theme for last year, I know that we talked about it a while ago. The beginning of last year's theme was Magic is Coming.
Yeah.
What would you say the theme of the start of this season is going to be?
We're so excited to be back.
No. Yes, we're glad to still be here. The theme is belief, you know, and that is Neverland is a place that runs on imagination and it runs on belief, and our characters are going to need it if they want to save Henry.
Yeah, I mean, the Neverland that we're creating for Once Upon a Time is, again, in the tradition of honoring what's come before. It's taking it to a new place, a place that's our own spin on it, and it's a little different than what you may have seen before.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're talking a lot about this Neverland place and all that. Can't you show us something?
Well, we just started shooting
I don't know.
like a week ago.
There's not much we have, but
seriously?
What if we did this? What if we showed you one scene from the premiere? Let's do that.
Can you want to set up the scene for us?
I don't.
Okay.
Let me set up the scene.
I want them to be confused so they watch live.
Here's the scene. The scene is this. It's on Neverland, and involves one of our characters, and
a character that we met last year.
And a character we met at the end of last year.
Talking about stuff that no one will have any idea.
And it involves the culmination of many things that have happened in an episode you have not seen yet. And those things are hopefully riveting. And we hope you enjoy this snapshot of the premiere of season 3.
To be the first to see it. Pretty awesome. So I leaned over to Eddie because there is one other little special reveal we can give, because I think we're familiar with that Lost Boy, but he actually has a name.
His name is Felix.
There you go. That's Felix. And now we all know something. We've learned something else today. And Peter Pan he doesn't seem like he's going to be very nice.
Well, there certainly seems to be a lot of fear surrounding Peter Pan.
Well, you know, to me, one of the scariest characters on our show is Rumpelstiltskin, or Mr. Gold, and when he lets us know that Peter Pan is someone to be frightened of, I'm frightened. And I think that you'll see is Neverland is the heart of darkness, and we're heading into it to save Henry.
Wow. Now, one thing that I love, and maybe it's, you know, the Marvel sensibility in me, but I love that when the heroes and the villains, everyone combines, and it's like a Avengers Assemble, Justice League sort of moment.
Fairy Tale Avengers.
Yeah.
Fairy Tale Avengers. Hashtag Fairy Tale Avengers.
And for us, you know, it is important that on this mission that they all become who they are, you know? We need Hook to be a pirate. We need the Evil Queen to be the Evil Queen. We need Charming and Snow to be heroes. And they all need to work together to save Henry.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that, you know, we really have been striving towards with season 3, which is, if season 1 was these characters didn't know who they were, and then season 2 was they remembered who they were and wrestled with their cursed selves and their real selves, season 3 is about getting back to their true selves. And what better place for that for us than to bring them to Neverland, a place where all that can be stripped away and they're forced to confront who they really are.
Now I'm guessing we are putting heroes and villains together, that things aren't necessarily going to go all so smoothly.
Well, you have 5 people on a ship who all think they are leaders. And so last year, in the heat of the moment, they were like, well, let's get on the ship and go save Henry. But I think when they face their first obstacle, they'll all have 5 different opinions on how to handle it.
6.
Sounds like your sounds like your production offices, maybe.
Emma.
Hook. Regina.
Right.
Snow.
Yep.
Charming. Rumple.
Oh, 6. Math is hard. Math is hard. Listen, I just write the show.
It's hard to do this.
6. That's what I said. I'm going to embarrass me at D23.
Thousands.
Well, I'm sure that won't make it to Twitter.
So now, we've talked a bit about last year Snow venturing into a dark place.
Yeah.
Do you think she's found more of a balance now? Is she going to be more like a good end?
It's at the end of the season. I think the key really was that speech she gives Mary Margaret in Granny's, where she tells Mary Margaret about what she did to get rid of Cora and what she felt forced to do, but how that she feels like she took the easy way, and that sometimes you have to do the hard thing. And that's what what she got Emma to do and everyone to do in terms of rescuing Regina and then heading off on the Jolly Roger. And I think at that point we were seeing the rebirth of the light in Snow.
I think that Neverland, you know, one of the things Snow has to do is return the hope to everyone, especially her daughter. And even though Emma now fully believes that these are her parents, even though Emma fully believes in magic, that doesn't mean necessarily she looks at Snow and Charming as the way a child would look at their parents. And I think that Emma right now is conflicted in how she feels, and it's up to Snow and Charming to return that light and to return that hope.
Now, speaking of light and hope, Belle, a character that we've really grown to love over the season, last season, she's in Storybrooke. Is she gonna? Will she remain? Will we see her? And will she remain a moral compass for Rumble?
She'll try. Yeah, she'll try. And while she's in Storybrooke, and while we are really focusing on Neverland at the start of this season, we will be seeing Belle. And I think we have some interesting, hopefully, surprises in how she fits into the story. And we're really excited about that because that relationship between her and Mr. Gold is so strong and so important that even, you know, as far away as Neverland, it's gonna reach out and affect him.
Now we have Neil in the fairy tale realm. Our heroes and villains are in Neverland, and everyone else is in Storybrooke.
Yes.
And the writers are in Burbank.
And the writers. It's very confusing.
Yeah. 6 of us?
I can't forget.
Me, you, Ching.
So now how are you going to break up the amount of time that we spend in each place?
We,
very carefully.
You know, what we really are excited about this year is that we are doing 11 episodes, and then we're going to go off for a couple of months and do 11, so that you don't have to wonder when once is on, or have 2 new ones and then 4 weeks of repeats, and then. So, yes, we're most excited about that. So the first 11, so we're treating it like 2 seasons, and the first half of the season is about Neverland. And so we're really going to focus on Neverland, and of course you've got Balefire, or Neil, who just told Emma he loves her, and now she thinks he's dead, and she's on a ship with the super handsome Captain Hook.
And the most tweeted question.
Yes.
Emma and Hook, what's going on? So we may need to do a sidebar on that.
Yeah, so, you know, and he is going to try to get his way back to them.
Assuming he survived.
Assuming he survived, but it sure looked like it. You know, Mulan and Aurora did say they'd get him help.
You know, we'll see how good they are at getting help. He's okay. No, but to answer your question, though, because there are, you know, the world of Storybrooke and the Enchanted Forest and Neverland, we're really focusing on Neverland while not forgetting those worlds. What we want to really do is try to focus the storytelling in the first 11 to be in a way that you can kind of jump in on what we hope is a roller coaster ride of emotion and adventure and all that, and you know, and really strip it down to its cleanest form, so that all the characters that hopefully you care about will be touched upon, and we'll get there. But in this new kind of way of airing, where we're going, you know, 11 straight, it'll hopefully create a lot of momentum and excitement as we reach the climax at the end of the fall run.
Now back to Emma and Hook.
Yes.
I mean, it really was. Any words on them? Any teases?
Well, they both use the same eyeliner. So that is a
something in common. It's always nice to have something in common.
You know, we're really excited is we got a bit of Hook last year, and we're excited. You know, if you've ever wondered how he became a pirate, that is a flashback we'll be telling in the first 5 episodes. And so, you know, we're excited for people to get to know Hook a little more. We think he is going to be extra handsome. I think that, you know, I have a feeling that Charming doesn't think he's the best influence on his daughter. And so there may be, I don't know if he's going to get his blessing, but he may try.
You may see a little protective dad in there.
Yeah.
You know,
just fitting. Now, we got to meet Hook last year.
Yeah.
And you've already let us know that this year we get to meet another favorite Disney character, Ariel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you know, being a Disney geek myself, I thought, well, you know, Ariel's a mermaid, and Neverland has mermaids.
Yes.
I've seen the movie.
Yeah, Is any hints as to is that where we will be meeting?
I would say that's a very good guess.
You are.
We also may be meeting a certain fairy in Neverland. But you have to clap if you believe in her.
Alright, you're going to see her. No, we're very excited, you know, to see Ariel and Tinkerbell as well, and to
and the other person we're going to meet is Peter Pan, who we're very excited to unleash on the world. And we're also really excited to just focus on the people on that ship and our core characters. And we're not going to introduce a lot of characters this first 11 episodes. We're really going to focus and get deeper into the ones we already love.
Well, you may not introduce, but you may have mentioned something to me backstage that we may get to meet another character from The Little Mermaid. Like maybe Ursula?
Oh, well,
you never know, because on our show, you know, you never know who really is Ursula.
Nobody loves calamari more than us. No, we will. I'd say there's a good chance of seeing Ursula.
Or at least our version.
Our version. And, you know, along those lines, there's a good chance of seeing a guy named Eric.
Now, in a previous panel at a previous place, you said we're going to find out who Peter Pan is, who the home office is, we're going to know more about Neil and his journey. What do you got for us here? What else?
Well, you're going to learn about all that in the first episode.
Oh. Well, that's going to cover a lot of terrain.
We are going to learn about Tinkerbell and her surprising connection to one of our characters. And it's not Hook, because we know they know each other from all their time spent in Neverland. Ariel will have also a connection to one of our characters. We are going to learn how Hook becomes a pirate. We're going to be seeing more of Robin Hood, who we briefly touched upon last season, and may play a more prominent role as the season progresses. And we are going to find out that perhaps out there is somebody who would be a great soulmate for Regina, if only she would let love in.
I like that.
You know Regina, though, she learns the hard way. She never does anything easy.
She'll have to kill him first, and then...
Unfortunately, that's what happens with her.
So last season there was a distinct lack of portals. You know, it's not a lot of times you get to talk about that on a stage.
No.
But now we've got people in 3 different dimensions, realms, essentially. Are we going to be figuring out some new... I mean, we saw the rabbit. He's got some tricks figured out.
Look, there are ways to travel between realms that we've seen on the show thus far, and there may be ways we haven't seen yet. But really, what's more important is less about how you get back and forth between the worlds than what's happening in the worlds. And I think that'll make a lot more sense as you see the season begin to progress. Like, there was so much focus at the end of last season about getting to the beings that would take you to the other worlds and all that. It's now the focus is going to shift a little bit to the real problem, which is now we're in this place. Like, getting back home, that's secondary to surviving and to getting Henry.
Yeah, getting Henry's #1, and then it's surviving.
Yeah, you're really making Pan sound like a great guy. Now, since we spoke at the Expo in 2011, you've done, I think everyone will agree, a terrific job of incorporating Disney characters into the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, since we sat here, we've had Hook, Sleeping Beauty, Mulan, Captain Hook. It's great, and now Ariel. Are there other characters that you would like
to incorporate? Absolutely other characters.
For us, it's an honor, like to be able to sit down and write the Snow White, and to write the dwarves, and to write Captain Hook, and these great characters. It is humbling, and it is an honor for us. And we feel like 2 kids who ran into the living room of Disney and took toys off a shelf that no one knew you could still play with. And so for us, there's still more toys to be played with. I would love to do Rapunzel.
Yeah, we would love to see Rapunzel. We'd love to see Tiana. There's many we would love to see. The key is for us is the when, and it's how do you honor the characters and how do you bring something new to them? And that's, until we crack that with each character, we don't want to bring them onto the show. So when, like, we knew we wanted to do Ariel pretty much from the pilot.
But we knew we wanted to do it in Neverland where there were mermaids.
Right.
Because that made the most sense. And so that was when we also wanted to do Tinkerbell.
Right, so it's about having, you know, the right idea and then making sure, like, these characters are so beloved by us and by all you guys and everyone that, you know, we just want to do our best with them.
And what's it like? I mean, back here 2 years later, what is the, you know, for the Disney fans? How's it been for you guys experiencing this Disney fandom? Obviously, you have a great following from Lost from before this, but the Disney fans, what's that been like?
I mean, it's amazing.
Crazy.
Like
we never thought we'd be here 2 years later.
Yeah.
We thought for sure we'd be canceled by now.
Right. And look,
We really were like, let's enjoy today, because, you know, we got, what, 6 episodes before they pull us? And it's amazing for us to be back here.
no, and we're here because of you guys.
Yeah.
And so thank you.
And you know, when we sit down and we write, you know, we say what do the fans want to see? Because that's why we do it. You know, we work 7 days a week for you guys because we are trying to entertain you and honor these characters.
You know, the first movie I ever saw as a kid was a re-release of Snow White, and like that stuck with me, and obviously somehow influenced what I'm doing now in some way. But it's like, this is the most amazing fandom that, you know, we've ever come across.
And for us, you know, my 2 favorites are Wonderland and Peter Pan, and to be able to go from Neverland to Wonderland in the same day for us is fantastic.
Now, before I do have one more question, but before we get to that one, I think we have a little bit of time to open up to a couple of audience questions. I think there's microphones somewhere. I see one there. So if you want to raise the house lights a tiny bit, we can have a couple, if you have questions, or if not, I can just keep asking. It's fine. So there's microphones to go to over there. I see we have our first question right there. Hello. Hello.
One of the episodes I was interested in was the one where the father and son were camping and they got caught up in Storybrooke, and how the worlds kind of cross over and collide and more people become aware of these fairy tale characters living in the real world. Is there going to be more of that? You know, is it going to get wider scale?
I think that the scale of the show is ever expanding, and I think in that episode, Welcome to Storybrooke, is one we're extremely proud of, and we thought it was really cool to do that. And now I think you're going to see the after effects of that, which is really this journey to Neverland. And I think you'll find it's connected to what happened there in many ways.
Thank you.
Sure.
We have a question over here.
Is Once Upon a Time in Wonderland going to have the characters from Once Upon a Time, like Emma and Snow, come in?
Probably not Emma or Snow. I know in the pilot we're going to see Cinderella and Grumpy. And there may be people that come in and out, but one of the things that we really like about Wonderland is it's kind of its own vibe, its own characters, and its own mythology, so that you can watch it and not have to be dependent on both shows.
But if you are a fan of Once, we are sprinkling breadcrumbs throughout so that hopefully you'll feel rewarded and excited by certain things you see in it.
But you never know who might show up.
Gentlemen over
Never
here.
say never. Yes.
I believe it was at WonderCon when you were showing all the different images at the beginning, and one of them had Volkswagen in it. So does that mean Herbie's coming?
The books.
That's a great idea.
By the way, there was an original outline of the pilot that had Herbie in it. It did not survive. It was a car crash, but that was actually Emma's bug, and that was an Easter egg that we showed, that we were going to show Emma's flashback and how she got it. And if you remember, she was stealing it from a guy who turned out to be Rumpelstiltskin's son.
And the fact that she drives a bug may be some deep subconscious reference to our love of Herbie, who we do enjoy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Over here.
Hi, my name is Chloe. So what kind of realms are you interested in exploring after Neverland? Because I remember, when we got to go into the Mad Hatter's hat, and there were some interesting doors over there. Do you guys have any plans, or is there anywhere you guys would like to see?
I'd like to see Oz, personally.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I would love to go to Oz. So.
There are many realms that are that are sort of on the docket should we get there. Right now we're focusing on Neverland, but I think like looking in Jefferson's hat, you'll see some clues to places we're thinking about, and if we're lucky enough to keep going, we'll visit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right here.
I just wanted to thank you for making girls just as strong as the boys, and for making evil be able to be possibly redeemed, and also for getting kids to read the classics again, and to watch the Disney movies to figure out how you guys are going to mash them all up. And you are three of the most humble, creative geniuses I've ever had the opportunity to meet.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You know what? For us, it was important that there are no damsels in distress on our show. So when Alice, of course, is going to grab a sword and save her man.
No, and you know, it started with the pilot of Once. When the Queen broke up the wedding, we needed Snow to step in front of her prince.
Over here.
I have a question. In the Once Upon a Time, will we be able to see some of Aurora's history with Maleficent, and will we see more of her?
We will definitely see more of Aurora, even in the season premiere. And we will see a bit of her this year.
Yeah, and we may touch on Maleficent again.
We may even see Maleficent in Wonderland. You never know.
Yeah, Maleficent's a character we love, and we have not forgotten about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see more of her. The mistress of all evil.
Absolutely, we will see definitely more of Aurora.
Yeah.
Right over here.
You guys already answered my question on Oz, because that's like my favorite movie of all time. So I guess my other question is Jefferson going to be Hatter in Wonderland?
Well, Jefferson is now the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
For Captain America.
He's literally on the stage here, I think, an hour ago.
Yeah, and we love Sebastian.
We will track him down. You know what? It's scheduled. We have no plans to recast the Mad Hatter. Sebastian always has an open door. But we have been greedy with him, and now other people have taken him, and so I don't know when he'll make his way back.
Now, we heard he was here today. If anyone can track him down and bring him over to us.
Yeah.
You didn't hear it from me, but we will accept delivery.
Yeah. Don't really do that.
Right here.
Hi, so you talked about, I think, Sydney coming back, so now
Yes.
we have two genies in the mix.
Well, we're going to see Sydney as the magic mirror. In episode 2, we're very excited because the flashback is a old-fashioned Snow and Charming versus the evil queen. And we are going to see a moment that we probably thought we have seen, but then when we watch it we realize we didn't see it and we need to see it. And that is, you know, what was the queen's reaction when she found out that true love woke up Snow and Charming?
So you're not getting them out of the basement yet?
We're not, well, you know, unfortunately Revolution has him. So NBC allowed him to have one episode.
But, you know, we love Giancarlo, and we were so happy he was able to come back, and should he be able to come back more, we would always...
The problem with these great actors that we have is everyone else wants them, and when everyone else gets them, then it makes it harder for them to come back to Storybrooke, but we're always trying. We are obsessed with Giancarlo.
Thank you.
I had a question if we were going to see more of Emma as a bail bond person.
Well, we're definitely going to see her bail bonds person skills put into use, but I would, there may be a chance that we get to see a little bit more of her in her early days. I don't know if it'll be as the bail bonds person or if it'll be her and Neil on the run.
But, you know, we will be seeing more of Emma pre-Storybrooke.
Right here.
Hi, first of all, I'd just like to thank you for making such an awesome show. I've always loved fairy tales, and this is my absolute favorite TV show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for watching.
And Peter Pan has actually always been my favorite story, so I'm very happy that Neverland's coming into the mix, and I loved seeing Hook last season. My question is, what made you decide to make Peter Pan kind of evil?
Honestly, for us, it was, we had Hook, and we knew what we wanted to do with him, and when we thought about Peter Pan, there are so many versions of him, that we thought, well, what is the one's twist? And we really started to talk about what would happen with somebody who chose to live in a place where you never got old, and what that would do to you. And we thought that might make a person mischievous, and that's kind of what led us on the path. And you know, you're in the jungle, so we started to think about Heart of Darkness.
You know, and whether he's evil or not evil, or what he's up to, or what he's really trying to do, you know, that's what's really been exciting for us to kind of lay into.
And to be fair, you know, the evil queen doesn't think she's evil. She just thinks she's the queen and everyone else is wrong. So it really sometimes is a matter of opinion.
I think when you meet Peter Pan, you'll see that he has a very clear objective and reason for what he's doing that maybe he doesn't think is evil, but it's certainly causing problems for our heroes.
I'm sorry, we only have time for one more question. I'm so sorry. But you get it.
Yay!
Promise 8 is a good one.
All right.
But my comment is that the way you guys twisted these classics and make them expand and give them like a background story is such an ingenious thing thinking, to be honest.
Oh, thank you.
Because you're so used to like, okay, there's a problem, there's true love, oh, it's a problem again, then they end up together. Here's my question for you. What makes one's heart so dark? Especially with Tamara and her boyfriend. What makes them so hated for the magic, for true love? Like, what brings about that I hate them?
You know what? I think that the reason that we hate Greg and Tamara is because this is a show for believers, people who want to believe in magic. And our world is cynical. And when Adam and I created this show, we wanted it to be about hope. Because we were tired of everything being cool had to be something that was cynical. And it was cooler to not like something. And the reason that we hate Greg and Tamara so much is because they stand for everything we hate.
No, not you guys.
No, I know. I'm saying those characters. And so what makes their heart dark is that they're cynical and they don't believe.
And it's not just that they don't believe, but it's that the magic that we all want to see in the world that we think is such a beautiful thing, they're afraid of. And I think that fear kind of grows and turns itself into something terrible, which is hate and evil and all these horrible things. And if you can just let go of that fear and get in touch with the hope, and that's what we try to put into the show, which is hope, that's how you can start to believe in things like magic and see really the power of it all.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. I think we're all looking forward to believing this fall. Thank you, Eddie, Adam. Thank you to ABC for having us.
Thank you, everyone.
My pleasure.
Thank you all.
Have a great D23 Expo. Thank you all so much for being here.